those 2023 picks are going to potentially be used on high school players that the Knicks think have a bright future ahead of them, and they're going to be stashed in the G League. So once again, this is showing that the coaching staff and also the front office is not only trying to build for now, they're also looking ahead to the future. And that's something, as a Knicks fan, you got to be happy about. You know, this is no longer people coming in and just trying to do quick fixes. This looks like a plan in which we're, you know, trying to be competitive next year, but also not sacrificing our long-term viability as a team, our long-term health as a team. Hey, what's going on? Keys here, Sports Vibes TV. And I just want to touch on some of the things the Knicks have done in the offseason up till now. Since I last came on, Obi Toppin and Immanuel Quickley have both been drafted by the New York Knicks. And I really like what Leon Rose and Scott Perry did during the draft. If you notice, what they basically did is they took that 27th overall pick and they took that 28th overall pick and they basically moved up. In both instances, they moved up from 27 to 23 and then settled at 25. And then they moved up from 38 and settled at 33. Now, they ended up trading 33 for an additional 2023 second round pick, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of people are confused as to why they are trying to accumulate picks so far out. And that's going to be the first year that high school players are going to be able to be drafted directly into the NBA and stashed in, you know, the G League. So the Knicks, they brought in a staff that's pretty good at scouting. So that's both scouting and developing players. So I'm trusting them to know what players are going to be around in 2023. And if we should, you know, use a 2023 on a player that could have potentially become a lottery pick or a late first round pick if they decided to go to college. And if we can bring them into our program early and retain their rights quickly, I think you can see the Knicks being a very dominant team, you know, later on in, you know, this group's tenure. Now, when it comes to the players that they picked in this draft, Obi Toppin was a fan favorite, a player a lot of, you know, Knicks fans wanted to pick. And we were lucky enough to actually, you know, have him fall into our laps at number 8. Now, a lot of people, including myself, thought the Knicks were trying to accumulate more picks later on in the draft in order to try to move up and get Toppin. And it turns out that we really didn't even have to go ahead and do that. So the fact that, you know, he fell there and he's going to be a good fit right next to Mitch. He's going to be able to space the floor out a little bit. We're hoping, yes, he did shoot close to 40% or at 40% in college, but that was on a very, you know, limited amount of shots. He only shot 2 3-pointers a game, if I'm not mistaken. So he made about a little less than 1 a game. But if you're going to compare that to a more high volume shooter that's on the market, like a Bogdanovich, who shot 9 a game and, you know, shot still around that 40% clip. So hopefully he's going to be able to knock down the 3-point effectively. But what the biggest concern with him is going to be defense. And I think we have the perfect coach for him to come in and be taught how to be playing, you know, sound defense, especially next to Mitch, who, you know, can help, you know, try to cover some of his mistakes because Mitch, you know, is lanky and has the ability to block shots. But we have a team, we have a coaching staff that's going to be able to drill defense to Obi, and I'm sure he's going to succeed. He's been preaching getting better on the defensive side of the ball frequently while he was being interviewed in the draft process. So he knows he has to get better defensively, and the fact that he's able to admit he has to get better defensively gives me hope that he's going to actually put in the effort on the court in order to get better at that part of his game. Now, Immanuel Quickley, he was the backcourt mate for with Maxey over in Kentucky, and he's not, I know a lot of people are calling him a point guard, but he's a point guard in size alone. He's more so a scorer. He's a good shooter. He shot 40% from 3 at Kentucky. And some people are going to say he's a reach, but if our coaching staff felt strongly enough about him to pick him at that spot, then I'm going to support them, because what they've been doing up to now, I've been in agreement with. And because Quickley, a lot of people were looking at Quickley at potentially being one of the steals in the draft. So I think if we can find another point guard to put beside him, that's going to allow him to do what he needs to do off the ball, catch and shoot situations and things like that, I think he'll be in a perfect place. And he's going to have to compete for some minutes, because we have a lot of other guards or younger guards on the team right now that we're trying to see if, they have a long-term future with the Knicks. So Quickley, I'm looking forward to see, if we do have a summer camp, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, when he's out there on the court. Now, when it comes to other moves that the Knicks made up until now in free agency, they made a lot of cuts. I got them all written down here. Now, they cut Dotson. Dotson was a player I said a few months ago that was probably not going to come back, or he expressed concerns about the Knicks not wanting him back. I'll link that video up above if you guys want to check it out. Ellington, another player, is not coming back. Taj Gibson, not coming back. Harkless, not coming back. Harper, not coming back. Portis, he's not coming back, but there were talks that he was going to potentially try to come back, but no, he's been signed away to another team. I'm not upset about that at all, honestly. And this one was a little bit of a shock to me. Kenny Wooten, he got released as well. And I was shocked, when you have a new regime come in, and understand why they don't necessarily want to continue investing time or resources in a player that was brought in by another staff. So I can't be too surprised that Wooten was cut, but I really thought they were going to, try to develop him as well alongside Mitchell Robinson. But I guess it's understandable. Wooten, you can't really play him next to Mitch because he's not necessarily a floor spacer. So this is, understandable, but a little bit disappointed. I wanted to see what he could become. Now, they also waived Theo Pinson, but they were able to bring him back on a two-way deal, and he will be with the Knicks coming in next year. Payton as well, Alfred Payton, they waived him, but they waived him and they brought him back at about $5 million a year. So we save about $3 million against the cap. This is more so, I think, a Scott Perry decision, more so than a Leon Rose decision. Scott Perry is enamored with Alfred Payton. I believe he was a part of bringing him over to the Orlando Magic when he was on staff over there. Now, we also brought in Nerlens Noel, and we also traded for Ed Davis, and we got 2 more 2023 picks. So like I said earlier in the video, those 2023 picks are going to potentially be used on high school players that the Knicks think have a bright future ahead of them, and they're going to be stashed in the G League. So once again, this is showing that the coaching staff and also the front office is not only trying to build for now, they're also looking ahead to the future. And that's something, as a Knicks fan, you got to be happy about. This is no longer people coming in and just trying to do quick fixes. This looks like a plan in which we're, trying to be competitive next year, but also not sacrificing our long-term viability as a team, our long-term health as a team. So once again, all these are 1-year deals. Payton is a 1-year, $5 million deal. Nerlens Noel is a 1-year, $5 million deal. And I believe Ed Davis as well is also an expiring deal. This is the last year on his contract. So I'm still trying to see what we're going to do, because right now we have a lockjam at the 4 and 5 position, I would say, because Noel, Ed Davis, Toppin, still have Julius Randle. That's 4 players. Well, Noel is a center. That's 3 players that could potentially occupy time at power forward. You're expecting Nerlens Noel to either back up Mitch. I'm hoping we see Mitch get the majority of the time there, and then Noel is going to be operating as his backup. But Mitch is going to be pushed, in practice, because Nerlens Noel does have the ability to give you quality time, quality minutes as a starter. So Mitch better get his A game under his belt and do what he has to do in practice, because I'm pretty sure Tibbs is going to go in there and say, hey, you're going to have to earn your spot. So at power forward, though, we're going to have Davis, Randle, and also Obi, who we're going to expect to get the bulk of the minutes at the 4. But, after all these moves, the Knicks still have $20 million in cap space, and we have to get to the floor. We have to spend at least 95% of our cap. So that would be, we have to spend at least another $14 million. So I'm thinking we're saving this cap in order to move Julius Randle and bring in another wing to maybe give us some additional shooting, because we still need some help on the wing and we still need a point guard. So if we can flip Julius Randle into some sort of point guard wing combo, because yes, we have Peyton, but I'm still not sold as Peyton as the starting point guard. I'm hoping he's not the starting point guard, and I'm still not sure we have an in-house solution. So if we can flip Randle into a wing and, you know, a point guard that can compete and push some of these young guys at the point guard position and help bring some leadership, then that would be ideal, and it'd be a beautiful offseason for the Knicks if they were to make that final move just to build out the roster. Now, do we think this is going to be a championship contending team? No, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a team where the young players are going to work hard every game, and we're going to see positive development game after game after game, similar to what we're seeing with my New York Giants. So you guys, let me know down in the comments what you thought or what you think about this offseason so far. I personally like it. You know, there are still some moves that has to be made for me to give them an A+, but I think they're a solid B+, A- right now in terms of not jeopardizing our future and still fielding a competitive young team that's also going to be exciting. All right. So once again, I'm Keith here at Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.